Hello beautiful people, in today's video I'm going to be doing two looks using the new ABH Norvina palette volume 5, the lilac palette. Yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. This is going to be the second look. Alright, so going in with, it took me like literally 5 minutes to sit here and figure out what look I wanted to do first. I'm going to go into the shade B3 first. And I'm taking that on a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to place this in the outer corner and work this in. I had no idea what I wanted to do first. I know I wanted to play with, it was a toss-up between that pressed glitter, this one here, and this one really called my name for some reason. That one and that one. Of course I want to play with one of the shimmers first. I do want to play with the, I think I might do like more of a neutral look next with that one or that one. But like, man, I wasn't going to get this, as I said in my intro, but after watching some reviews on it, and I mean, honestly, when I first saw this palette, I thought that it was just another purple palette, and it had some neutrals in it. I was like, I don't need any more browns. But then as I got to watching some of the reviews, I heard that these leaned more plum purple. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of B2, just a smidge. I don't want this to be overly like pink, because as much as I want to go like a fairy whimsical kind of look, I don't want it to be too leaning like that, if that makes any sense at all. I'm just going to take a smaller brush now, and I'm going to go into the shade E2, E2, A, B, C, D, E. And I'm going to take this on my ABH brush here, and I'm going to place that on the outer half of the lid. And I enjoyed her other palettes that I have, the volume 1 and volume 2. So when I saw this, like I said, I originally wasn't going to get it, but then I ended up caving because the reviews were a lot of positive reviews on it, and they weren't neutral brown mattes like I'm used to, so that was okay. Going back into the shade B3, that lilac color. So I thought, let's do it. I went through my entire collection and I took a look at all the purples that I have, and it came to the conclusion that it was okay to get it because this does give me a little bit more of a variety, like with the shimmery purples. I do have a lot of shimmery purples, but these ones are different. So I thought it was okay to add it. Plus, like, if I hate it, I can just return it, which is my failsafe. Okay, I think I want to build up a little more. So that E2 color isn't as dark as I thought. So I'm just going to try and build up just a little bit more here on the lid. I'm going to put the shade C1 on top of it. Maybe I'll take a little bit of E5. This one here. And I'm just going to place a little bit, this might be a disaster of a look, but I just want to deepen up just a little bit. See how that goes. Sometimes if I play with too many colors on my eyes, it doesn't turn out very well. Simple looks are better with my eyes. Okay, I'm not liking the way that E2 shade looks. For some reason. Maybe I'm pairing it with the wrong colors. I don't know. I'm going back into the lilac shade again. That color was pretty to blend it out with. Okay, I'll just stick with that. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of B2 on this slightly, it's still fluffy, but slightly more dense, and I'm going to place that on the inner part right here. And blend out the lilac shade with that again. Okay, I'm going to take some glitter glue because I just do that with every single glitter I use. Okay, going into the shade C1. This color here, I'm going to go with my finger. That is the color there. Alright, that's pretty. See, I don't have a color like that in my collection. So it's the shimmer shades like this is the reason why I bought the palette. I mean, of course, the variety of mattes are nice too. I feels like some of the darker purples are slightly redundant. Like, this one and this one are basically identical. On camera, this one looks darker and that one looks more like a grape purple. In real life, it's more leaning warm, not so cool, but more neutral than actual warm. But this one just has a little bit more depth than this one. So, I mean, I guess that's the reason why she put it in there. I don't know. Sometimes I like to know the reasons why the creators put certain shadows in that are so similar. I mean, even this one is really similar to these two. I mean, on camera, when I'm looking at the viewfinder here, they do look distinctly different, but in real life they look so similar. Okay, I have that shade on there now. I'm just going to go back in with my blending brush with the shade B2 on it. And I am actually going to take a different purple to put on the outer corner because that E2 was not giving enough depth for this look, which is no fault of that shade by any means. But I'm going to go into the shade D5. Now it has a slight little bit of like micro shimmer in it, but that's not going to show up on the lid. I believe sometimes they put that in there just to help with like the blendability of it. So I'm just going to pat this in because sometimes when you're working with heavily pigmented shades, patting is better than blending, which might be what I was doing wrong with the E2. But regardless, we're going to go in with this. And I'm liking the way this is showing up much better. I'm liking the depth that this is giving me so much more. Okay, just patting it out. I'm going to go over with B2, the lavender shade, one more time. And I'm just going to actually like dance it on the outer edge here. Alright, liking the way that's looking. Let's take a little bit of the shade E3. And I'm going to pop that on the outer edge right here just to blend those two together, and that looks beautiful. Okay. The E3 shade really complements the D5 that I put in the crease. I'm going to take a little bit more of the C1, the one that I put on here, just to overlap and blend those two together. And then for the inner corner, I'm going to take A2. In the pan, it looks like it's a peach color, but when you swatch it, it looks more pink. At least when I swatched it on my hand last night, it looked more pink. And I'm going to pop this in the inner corner, right here. There we go. See how it looked turned more pink? I hope you can see how it turned pink. Alright, for the inner corner, I think I'm going to take some of that pink shade on my fluffy brush. And the fluffy brush will just help distribute the glitters a little more and not make it so like impactful. But I just want to blend it into the inner corner here, as I always do. Alright, I like the way that looks. Going back in with my finger and just taking a little more on the inner corner here. Tapping a little bit of C5 again just to blend all those shades together. And I'm liking the way this look is turning out. Beautiful. Alright, going back into D5, just a little more. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply liner, finish the other eye, and show you guys the final look. What I have on my face for foundation is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light, mixed with a little bit of the Dior Backstage Foundation in 1W. For highlight, I put on the ABH Emery highlight because I thought it was fitting to do ABH today. For highlight, I have on... Oh, I already told you that. Okay, so what am I doing for lower lash line? I decided to stick... I could have taken it two different routes. I could have done something more contrasting, but I think I'm going to stick with a similar vibe that I have on the eyelid, just to keep it like cohesive, and I don't know. Sometimes today I'm not feeling a contrasty look, so I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background, that's my email going off. Okay, so I'm taking this pencil stick thing, it's from Essence, and this is just going to give it something to stick to and last all day long. I am going to take the shade B2. I might regret this. Actually, I'm going to take B2 and B3, so the lilac and the pinky color, and I'm going to take that on the outer corner here, and I'm going to go into the shade E2. I'm trying to stick with a similar vibe that I did on the outer edge. Okay, going back in. Oh, I didn't put primer on that side yet. Alright, so I'll stick with this eye and do that eye after. I forgot I wasn't filming there for a second. And then I'm going to take the same shade that I put on the inner corner here. So A2. I'm going to take that on a little brush, and I'm going to pop that down here. I was going to take the shade E1, but I thought that I would just kind of keep it in the relative same like eyeshadow colors that I did on the upper lid. Okay, and I'm gonna go back into B1, B2 just to blend them together over top of that peach color, peachy pink. I like the lighter colors in here, they're very pretty. And for the inner corner, I might actually dip into another palette for the inner corner just because I don't really want to take B1. That's this super bright, like, icy, yellowy. I don't want to do that. I want to kind of keep it more in like the lavender family. So I'm going to cheat like I always do. And I'm going into the ABH Volume 1 palette. And I'm taking A1 from this palette. And this color is like a light purple. And I think it'll look really nice with this look. So excuse me while I cheat over here. Okay, I might have to wet that because it's not showing up too bright. Maybe it's getting old. Or maybe this palette here is just so amazing. Okay, so that's not showing up. Alright, I lied. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to go back into this palette and I'm just going to use the B1 shade. Am I? I don't know what to do. Yeah, I'm just going to go back into A2 and put that over top because it's not giving me... There, I put a bit of B1. Wow, that was a hard decision. It's not that deep, girl. Okay, so I like the way that turned out. I did layer several colors together. But yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other eye, apply some eyeliner, figure out what I'm going to throw in my waterline. I'll come back and explain that to you when I come back, pick out a lip and show you guys the final look. Okay, and here is the completed look. I added white eyeliner on my inner rim, and I took the shade, I shut the palette, B3 over top of it, just to add a little bit more purple, and I really like the way it turned out. I love the way this look turned out, actually. It all came together in the end. Let me zoom you in on the eye so you can see. So there's the eye there. Hopefully you can see the pretty shimmer detail in the corner there. And there's that eye. I think the purple sets off the peachy gold color on the inner corner really nicely. Okay, zooming you out for lips, I just applied something really simple, my Pat McGrath Pale Fire Nectar lip gloss. I think I might purchase another one of these because I really like the color. I was going to go with the nude Natasha Denona powder lip gloss, but I wanted to keep it light, fresh, and sparkly. Okay, so while I was doing this eye look, I actually came across a shadow that reminded me of another shadow. And that shade was the A2 shade that I used in this tutorial. So that shade there reminded me a lot of the shade from the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2. Wrong palette. Where'd it go? Right here. It reminded me of this shade right here, which was really interesting. And after swatching the two of them together, they are a little bit different, but they are very similar. The one from ABH has a slight, like, duochrome shift. It goes from, like, pink to peach. But the one from ABH is actually a lot more shinier than the one from Pat McGrath. Sorry, I can't even see. Okay, so Pat McGrath is this one right here, and ABH is this one right here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell on camera. Maybe on camera it'll pick up more of the peach shift and actually look different. But when the ABH shifts the pink color, they look really, really, really similar. If anything, the ABH one is a little bit more shinier, which is interesting considering Pat McGrath is pretty pricey. So that shade reminded me of that one there. The shade E3 reminded me of the shade from Pat McGrath's palette. I believe it's Nocturnal something or other. I'll put the name on the screen here. But from this palette here, the Pat McGrath shade is darker. So this is the Pat McGrath and this is the ABH. So as you can see, the ABH is much, much more shinier and the Pat McGrath is much, much deeper. I will swatch them on my arm here. But like, look how that just goes, and that could still keep going. Like, oh my gosh, like that resembles one of Natasha Denona's formulas. Like, this palette is beautiful. So Pat McGrath and ABH, they're not identical dupes, but they just gave me the same vibe. And where's my cloth? I don't think I'm going to, maybe in another video I'll like compare the purples, the next video, sorry, I'll compare these purples here to the purples in the volume 1. They are very, very, very similar, but there may already be videos on that already, and I didn't want to make this video too long doing comparison swatches, because my 2-in-1 looks videos kind of go a little longer anyways, because I don't know how to shut up. Anyways, so this is the look here. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on to the second look. Okay, so before I move on to the second look, I want to point out one more thing. So the shade B3 was giving me vibes from the Natasha Denona Tropic palette, which is the shade Azini here. But upon comparison and swatching them, they're actually very different. So this one is from the ABH and this one is from the Tropic palette. Let me just do some swatches. So this one has a much more cooler cool tone, and of course the ABH is a little more brighter, more vivid lilac, which is amazing. So I'm glad I do not have, I was worried about that, I'm glad I do not have a dupe or the same kind of a duplicate in my collection. So happy for that. Alright, now on to the second look. Okay, so I'm going to do a slightly more neutral but still with color look for the second look. I'm going to start by going into the shade A5. And I'm taking that on a fluffy brush here. This is the MAC 224. And I'm just going to take that in my crease area, tapping off the excess. See, the thing that sold me on this palette was the fact that these colors leaned more on the purple side. So like mauvey browns. Because, yeah, straight up brown to me, I don't exactly always am drawn to that. So the online pictures of this palette definitely did not do it justice. Okay, so that's on there. I hope you can see that it's pulling all like more of a berry. Very beautiful. I'm going to go into the shade A4, and I'm going to take that on the first part of here. Got some more depth and dimension. And I'm just going to continue to blend it out. Going back into A5 again. Working it out here. Alright, and the base I'm using is the ABH eye primer, because I thought, what the heck? Why not? I like that primer because it does give like a bit of a, it's a whiter base and it helps colors pop way more. So for a palette you want to showcase the color, it was great for that. Alright, going in with a smaller brush and just blending the inner corner here. Okay, I think I need a little bit more depth for the outer corner, so I might take this brush and, actually not this brush, I'm going to take this one from ABH. And I'm going to go into the A5 again, and I'm going to see if we can just build up the outer corner with the same color, but just add like more intensity and depth by using a smaller brush. It might not work, but yeah, it's adding depth. Just going to go in with a flatter side of the brush and just brings them onto the lid. Now I don't want to cover too much more of the lid because I'm going to go in with 2 of the shimmery colors here in 2 seconds. Alright, now that that is done, for now, I'm going to go ahead and take glitter glue, and I'm going to apply that all over the eye. Okay, so for the first color, I'm going to go into the shade C4, and I'm going to take that on my finger, and I'm going to pack that on the outer half of the lid. Beautiful. Oh my. Oh, what a great palette. Okay, and then I'm going to take the shade C1, and I'm going to put that on the first half where I didn't apply anything yet. And blend it up. Okay. Beautiful. Well, that's pretty. I take a little more of C4, and I'm just going to tap that onto it just to blend the two together. Loving it. Okay, I think I'm going to take, what brush am I going to take? This brush here, it's 217. It's in between fluffy and not as fluffy. Great explanation, I know. And I'm going to take the shade C. Actually, I wonder what that would look like. I was going to take the shade B4, but I'm afraid that if I take B4 and put it on this part here, I'm afraid it's going to deepen it too much. But maybe we should just try it and see. Okay, we take it very lightly, the shade B4. It's like the same, it's in the same taupey family as, as these colors here. But except for it has a little bit of pink shimmer in it. But I don't think shimmer is going to translate on the lid, just because I think that it's only there to, it's like one of the ones, you know the Tattoo Beauty palette, how you have the mask with like a little bit of glitter sprinkled throughout of it? It's like that kind of shade. Okay, so that worked out beautiful. I like the way that turned out. Perfect. I think I'm just going to take this same brush, no, I'm taking a different brush. This brush here, 217, the original, not the synthetic, and I'm going to go back into the shade A5. And I'm going to take that on the outer corner just to add a little bit more depth and blend that shimmer in with the matte. Okay. I like the way this eye look turned out. It's neutral, but it still satisfies my craving for a little bit of color. Amazing. For the inner corner, I think I'm going to take a little bit of E1, the same color we use on the inner corner here, on the Duo Fiber brush. Again, because it gives a lighter wash, and I'm going to use that to blend the crease, inner crease area together. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply brow bone. I'm not going to use the white because it's too white for my skin tone. I'm going to use my MAC Brulee. I will finish up the other eye and come back and show you guys the completed look and the lower lash line. Alright, for the lower lash line, I just zoomed you in a little closer. I just put on the Essence eye pencil here to make the color stick better. I'm going to go take the shade B5. It is a beautiful, just like plummy, well, are you going to zoom? It's like a plum with a bit of a pink tint to it. Just gorgeous. So I'm going to take that on a pencil brush here, and I'm going to put that on the outer edge here. And I'm just going to bring it about halfway. And then for the inner corner, I'm going to take the shade E1, which was the same color we used on the first half of the lid up here. And I'm going to take that along the lower lash line, meeting up with the B5 color. Going back in again with B5 just to blend, and then back in with E1. Alright, I think I like the way that looks. clean up a little bit of mess here. Alright, for the inner corner, I'm going to use the shade E1, continuing that along, and then I'm going to top it with the highlight that I use on my face today, because I do want to keep it relatively similar in the inner corner here, but I also do want to add a little bit more brightness to it. So the highlight that I use is the MAC Hyper Real Glow, and I use this as my highlight today. And I'm going to take this shade right here, the first one, the Flash and Awe, and I'm going to pop that right over top just to add a little bit more pow. Again, you can use the shade B1 in the palette, that would work too, but I just didn't want to today. But you could do that if you didn't want to switch it up like I did. Switch it up like I did. Okay, I'm going to go and finish the other eye, figure out what I'm going to put in my waterline, and come back and show you guys the final look. Okay, so here's the final look with mascara on, and I went ahead and added a lip. I did something a little bit different today for the lip. I felt like just going for it, because why not? I'm wearing Melt Cosmetics in the lipstick called Tomboy. It is obviously like a grayish, greeny, khaki color. It's very contrasty, but that's why I love it. Alright, I will zoom in on the eye so you can see the final look. I like the way it turned out. Yeah, so here you go. The mascara looks a little bit messed up today. I think my mascara is drying out, so it looks a little clumpier than usual. But yeah, that is the eyes there. Again, I like the way it turned out. And I will zoom you out for the completed vibe. Okay, so final quick thoughts. I don't want this video to be super long. I love this palette. I have used over half the shades now. I have used 15 shades so far. And so far, beautiful. I love the shimmers are intense. The shimmers are shiny. The shimmers don't take a lot of work to build up. They're beautiful. I haven't come across one shadow that I needed a little more elbow grease to get to work properly. I'm super impressed with how these neutral brownie colors have a mauve-y, purple, berry undertone. It's very interesting. I mean, in the end, the eye look still looks like a mauve. And I mean, I have other mauves, but I like the fact that the variety in this palette, you can go so many different ways. I want to do a look next using the glitter here, because that is just so pretty. I was going to use this today, but I didn't want to take away from the C4 and the E1 that were on my eyes. These two colors are just beautiful. I have an old Too Faced eyeshadow that looks like this. No, it doesn't. It looks similar to this. It looks like this looks when it's swatched, but the other eyeshadow looks like it, and that's what I wanted this to be. So I'm super happy to be able to have this. Like, all the shadows are, like, intense, and I love the fact that this is intense and doesn't take too much to build up. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else I have to say about this palette at the moment. I love it. I'm very happy with my purchase. So far, out of the 3 ABH Norvina collection palettes that I have, this might be creeping up to be my favorite. Of course, I like them each equally for different reasons. But yeah, you'll probably see more looks from this coming from me in the future as I continue to work with it. But yeah, so far, I love it. Don't regret it. Will not be returning it. So happy that I have it in my collection. Okay, without rambling anymore, I thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and you will see me in my next video. Bye!